Going on? This is regular Ravens fan. As I always tell people to trust your eyes, everybody. Trust your eyes. Don't listen to the hate. And the hate for Lamar Jackson has always been second to none. It's always been second to none. And I got a video right here to give you all a little proof, little evidence of what I'm speaking of. I'm going back to college because I want to show you two different quarterbacks, and I want to show you the contrasts and differences on how they were perceived. One was a number one overall pick. The other was a number 32 overall pick. Both won Heismans. Both played in the same conference. So first up, and I want you to see it with your eyes. Let's look at the highlights. I want you to look at the player. This is Lamar Jackson, right? We're going to look at Lamar Jackson playing college football at Louisville. Again, Louisville, right? You see what he's able to do. Everyone knows Lamar Jackson was deadly running the ball. A lot of people always say he can't throw, but what you don't know is Lamar Jackson threw for 3,000 plus yards twice in college, while rushing for 1,000 yards twice in college. Sound familiar, right? And I say twice because he was a junior. He did play 3 years, but his first year he didn't start the entire season. First year, his freshman year, he wasn't the full-time starter. So I'm only going to look at his 2 years, his Heisman winning year. Of course, it's almost similar to the NFL. His first year, he wasn't the full-time starter. His second year, he won the MVP. First year in college, wasn't an all-time starter. Sophomore year, won the Heisman. Third year, was a little bit less than his Heisman, just like in the NFL. Still was a good year. Lamar, the Louisville Cardinals have not been the same since Lamar Jackson left. And as you can see on your screen, the kid could definitely throw the ball. But they always say you can't throw. He can't throw. He can't do this. He's a wide receiver or running back playing quarterback, right? I mean, look at this. Get it with pressure, able to get a first down. That's what you want from your quarterback. But I want you to watch what he can do with the football. This was in college, right? And the player I'm comparing him to is none other than Trevor Lawrence. And the reason I do that is because both of these quarterbacks won the Heisman. Both of them have the similar builds. Neither of them are huge men. And one was drafted number one overall, and the other was deemed to be this project, this guy who needs to switch positions, right? But he dominated in college at the quarterback position. Dominated. Like I said, you don't throw for 3,000 plus yards and rush for 1,000 plus yards being a gimmick player. You have to know what you're doing at the quarterback position to do that. When you look at these highlights, a rollout pass for a touchdown, you look at these highlights, the kid could definitely throw. But you weren't told that. No matter what your eyes told you, no matter what we saw him do on Saturdays, making play after play after play, everybody knew how big he was in college. You weren't told that. You were told that this is a project guy. This guy needs to switch positions. He's not going to be able to play quarterback in the NFL. I want to contrast that with this next player who is Trevor Lawrence. Now, when you look at Trevor Lawrence, right, when you watch Trevor Lawrence play, I don't see too much difference. I mean, we're going to watch what he does. Let's look at him. Rolls out, okay, throws the ball. We just saw Lamar roll out and throw the ball, right? Look at his build. Look at the way the young man looks as he's playing quarterback. And you tell me, actually, the only difference I've seen between the two of these quarterbacks is that Lamar Jackson is more of an explosive runner. All right? The difference isn't 100%. Like, there isn't this, oh my goodness, this player is so much better than that player. Both of them won the Heisman. And right now, yes, we are looking at highlights. But again, what is it that Trevor Lawrence does really that Lamar Jackson didn't do in college? Again, they both played in the ACC, but as you can see, Trevor Lawrence played for Clemson. Clemson, who has 5-star players at pretty much every position, right? So he's surrounded by talent. Lamar Jackson wasn't surrounded by the same talent in Louisville. And I can prove that Lamar Jackson made Louisville because Louisville wasn't what it was when it had Lamar Jackson before he became the quarterback, nor since. Clemson, they had Deshaun Watson, remember? You remember even before that when he had the, what was that kid's name, the quarterback? But I know Clemson has been good for a long time, all the way back when they had C.J. Spiller, guys like that playing running back. Taj Boyd. Clemson has always been a good team. They've always been able to have players, and they surrounded Trevor Lawrence with NFL-type talent. Yes, he excelled, and they both won the Heisman. But when you watch them play, when you look at their skill set, there isn't this huge gap. This gap doesn't exist. Why was Trevor Lawrence considered a can't-miss candidate, a can't-miss prospect, number one overall pick, and Lamar Jackson was just a project? needs to switch positions. Barely made it into the first round. 32nd overall pick. What was the difference? There was no difference on the field. Look at your eyes. Let your eyes tell you. What is the difference in the types of passes that they're throwing? I don't see no huge difference. And of course, regular Ravens fan will admit these are highlights. But I want to show you something because I'm not a stat guy. I've always told people that I'm a trust my eyes guy. I don't believe in stats because stats can be skewed. You have quarterbacks who can throw screen passes. Some quarterbacks in their systems, they don't throw screen passes. Screen passes help to elevate your completion percentage and your yardage because you're getting your passing yards when you're throwing a 1 yard pass and a guy is taking it and doing his thing and you're getting the credit for all of those yards. I don't trust stats. Stats can be misleading. Stats don't tell you the full picture. I'll give you an example. Emmitt Smith was a great running back, but he played behind a great offensive line, right? Do you think that other running backs couldn't have done as good? Maybe not as good, but couldn't have been great in that offensive system? Everything with stats are predicated on the players around you. But that being said, for the stat guys out there who want to tell me that Trevor Lawrence is so much better than Lamar Jackson, I got a graphic for you all that I want to show you right now. A simple graphic. My first graphic is Trevor Lawrence. These are Trevor Lawrence's stats, right? Trevor Lawrence was the full-time starter every season he played at Clemson. So look at that first year and just remember, he was the full-time starter in his first year. Look at his passing stats. 36 touchdowns. Let's look at 2019 and 2020 because those are the two most comparable. Because like I said, Lamar Jackson, his freshman year, he wasn't the full-time starter. 2019, Trevor Lawrence, 3,600 passing yards, 36 touchdowns, right? 65% completion percentage. His second is his junior year, his third season, 3,100 passing yards, 24 passing touchdowns, 69% completion, right? Let's look at his rushing. This is Trevor Lawrence, right? Sophomore year, his best rushing season in college. 9 touchdowns, 500 yards rushing. His junior year, 200 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns. And look at his average per carry. That's very key. His sophomore season was pretty good, 5.5 yards per carry, right? 3 yards per carry in his junior year. And I'm not even going to look at the freshman year because I say Lamar Jackson he didn't get to start full-time his freshman year. Now I want to show you a graphic of Lamar Jackson. This is Lamar Jackson's graphic, his college stats. Sophomore year, right? Remember what I said about Trevor Lawrence, right? Let's look at Lamar Jackson's sophomore year. 3,500 plus passing yards, so 100 yards less than Trevor Lawrence's sophomore year, right? 30 touchdowns, and he completed only 56% of his passes. Granted. So the completion percentage is different. But remember, people, Lamar Jackson did not throw a lot of screen passes in college, nor does he in the NFL. And he also didn't play with the same talent around him that Trevor Lawrence did. But in his 56% completion percentage, playing in a pro-style offense, he still threw for 3,500 plus yards. And in his junior season, the season that everybody said he didn't play as good as he did in his Heisman year, he played better. He got better. As a matter of fact, Lamar Jackson has always gotten better. Every year, he's always gotten better at every level of football he's played. His junior year, he had 3,600 yards passing, and he had 27 touchdowns, right? But he completed 59% of his passes. Now, when you think about his rushing and you add that in, so this is Lamar Jackson's rushing. In his sophomore year, he had 1,500 rushing yards to go along with 3,500 passing yards. 21 rushing touchdowns. In his junior year, he had 1,600 rushing yards to go along with 18 touchdowns. Now remember, I told you about that average per carry. That's key. Look at Lamar Jackson's average yards per carry. That's the explosiveness that I was telling you about. So when you look at these stats, and when you look at those two guys on the field, you can't tell me that one guy is head and shoulders above the other when one went to Clemson, one went to Louisville. So why is it that Lamar Jackson wasn't considered the same type talent coming out as Trevor Lawrence? This is all the proof you need that there is nothing but hate for Lamar Jackson. When I add up his 21 touchdowns plus his 30 touchdowns, I get 41 total touchdowns. Excuse me, 51 total touchdowns. When I add up his 27 touchdowns plus 18 touchdowns, excuse me, oh my goodness, I get another 45. I believe it's 45. Yeah, 45 touchdowns. 41 and 45 touchdowns. Whereas Trevor Lawrence, 36 touchdowns passing in his sophomore season, 9 rushing touchdowns. Right? 8 rushing touchdowns his junior year, 24 passing touchdowns, right? So aren't these two players very comparable? Again, Trevor Lawrence went to Clemson. Could you imagine if Lamar Jackson went to Clemson and played with all that talent around him? Guys that could beat coverage all over the field, running backs, a defense, an offensive line. Could you imagine? But again, I'm just bringing it to you people. This is from the college. But Trevor Lawrence was considered a can't-miss prospect, right? Lamar Jackson was considered a can't-miss project. You can't miss it. He's just a project. He needs to switch positions. I've never seen he's slight of build. He's slight of build? But Trevor Lawrence isn't all that much bigger than him. He's big, but he's not that much bigger than Lamar Jackson. Not with the pads on. Might have a little more weight, but not with the pads on. I mean, I don't believe that 5 or 10 pounds makes a big difference when you're playing quarterback. I just don't. But I'm not a stat guy. I'm a trust my eyes guy. But these stats are going to show what I say. Look at him, people. This is Trevor Lawrence. This is Lamar Jackson. Why was one, both of them won the Heisman. Both. Granted, Trevor Lawrence won national championships, but championships are team-oriented achievements. Championships are not single-player achievements when you're talking about football. They're just not. It takes a team to win a championship. A player can only give you the production that he can give you. It's regular Ravens fan, man. Ravens for life. We out here.